The Royal Rumble is tomorrow night. Vince McMahon resigns from TKO. And WWE going to Netflix. It's Wrestling Uncensored time. Just a regular day. Nothing going on, Johnny. Sorry, I got a...
Tobacco? You're back on the spit?
Yeah. You know me.
All right. I get you. You're getting ready for baseball season. It's coming up. Only a couple months away.
Yeah. All right. I'm not chewing tobacco. Well, God. Where to start, Johnny? Where to start with everything? It's just a wild time in professional wrestling. I just saw Smackdown. Vince, right? I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the move. It's the biggest story in professional wrestling going. Vince has resigned from TKO. He's resigned from the TKO group where he was on the board of directors. He's gone from the company. He has no say in anything WWE, TKO, UFC, whatever, going forward. According to a statement by Nick Khan to all WWE...
Oh, and Vince, too.
Yeah, but, well, hang on. The Nick Khan statement says Vince McMahon will no longer have a role with TKO Group Holdings or WWE. Vince has also issued a statement after he was accused, and the news broke yesterday that there is someone suing him for some sex trafficking, where the details are plenty and horrific. Many details. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of it all. I talked about it a little bit last night on Ringside Report MMA, and even then, I didn't get into the texts, the exchanges, the levels of depravity, the graphic detail. We did get into some detail, and probably we'll get into some detail about everything Vince is accused of doing here tonight, but there's just so much to dissect with Vince McMahon and everything he's accused of doing here by this former employee, Janelle Grant. Vince has tendered his resignation from the TKO board of directors and as the executive chairman at TKO. His statement reads, I stand by my prior statement that Ms. Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene, made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth. I intend to vigorously defend myself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing my name. However, out of respect for the WWE Universe, the extraordinary TKO business and its board members and shareholders, partners, constituents, and all of the employees and superstars who helped make WWE into the global leader it is today, I have decided to resign from my executive chairmanship and the TKO board of directors effective immediately.
Well, it's another way of saying, sponsors are dropping out, so I need to step down, so sponsors come back. Slim Jim mainly.
This following the news that Slim Jim had backed out of their partnership with WWE. They said they were pausing the partnership until they find out more information. But Slim Jim is a big sponsor, and if Slim Jim went, you would imagine other sponsors were thinking about pulling out as well. So TKO forced Vince to resign because it was too much. At this point, it's too much. And this is going to be the legacy of Vince McMahon. This is always going to be part of it. It may not be the whole story, but whatever this is, whatever this becomes, as we get more information, as the lawsuit progresses, this is going to be a big part of his story and how people talk about Vince McMahon. because the details here are just so shocking that it's, I mean, there are accusations in this lawsuit that he defecated on this woman's head during a threesome with I don't know if it was with another man, but there's a lot of talk of Vince lending her out like an object to other men, namely John Laurinaitis and possibly Brock Lesnar as part of a contract negotiation. There's talk that Brock Lesnar requested a video of this woman urinating. And they were supposed to meet up for some sort of encounter, but snow caused him to miss the meeting. I don't know if any of this is true. I hope that it's not. But just all the details, some of the text messages that are available to read, they sound like Vince. A lot of this kind of checks out. And we know that Vince has already paid this woman. We know that, she was already involved in some improper use of WWE funds. Vince gave her a job and then paid her off. But now she's coming back with this lawsuit because she, I think, is claiming that Vince broke a non-disclosure agreement, so she wants to sue him for more money.
Well, isn't that he didn't, you're supposed to pay her more money and he actually stopped paying her? Isn't that the thing? So
I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure exactly why she's coming back at Vince. Again, just the details there's so much going on. Just some of the things you read, you start reading it and you start seeing the lawsuit and what he's alleged to have done, and you go, man, really? Like I said last night, I always expected Vince to be greasy behind closed doors. I just didn't expect it to be this greasy. I didn't expect it to be criminal greasy. I thought he probably has sex with some women, cheats on his wife like any average mad billionaire. But this is like a step in a different direction. I was not expecting this. I'm disappointed in this. This is not good.
Well, there's so many things to talk about. I just think at first, it's just unbelievable. A lot of this, it's incredible. I kind of said it on the comments in the on your show last night. It's so incredible that it's hard to believe that this actually happened. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. It's unbelievable that something like this happened. And this is 4 years ago, roughly, right? This is just pretty much when COVID started too. So the fact that they're not really caring about, staying away from people, whatever, this seems just like a free-for-all, the way it was going down, which is questionable. Like, not the best timing for this, but
you're talking about
they were doing.
You're talking about the possible. You're talking about COVID restrictions, John. Your objection to this is that it was breaking COVID restrictions. Well,
there's that.
I mean, you're pooping on somebody's head during a pandemic. That is a step too far for you? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying Fred Garcia said it last night, did he not, on your show, saying everyone has their own, things they like to do? That's their own thing.
Sure.
As long as there's consent. And if there was no consent on that, then there's a problem with that.
Well, it appears as though, right? It appears as though the consent here is an issue.
Well, I think another issue, too, is the fact that it's an employee that you're doing this to, and it feels like she was kind of forced to do this or you lose your job. That's also horrible, terrible, vile. So
can I say, though, on the other hand, just it does appear that her job at WWE wasn't real.
It seems like, yeah.
I mean, she knew this. She knew she was getting a salary for a job at WWE she wasn't doing, right?
She also didn't really have a choice, right? Because she didn't have anything. She was like,
Yeah.
had no family.
Yeah, she was in a bad situation, and Vince definitely took advantage of that. And you can't pay somebody for what Vince was paying her to do. But it does appear as though she possibly... I mean, what I'm saying is you don't get a job in a company and then not do the job, and then you're doing all this other stuff, and you're like... I mean, you kind of clue in at a certain point, right? Like, man, I don't think I've been hired for this job. I think I've been hired for something else. And who knows when that clued in or when she was aware of this or how willing a participant she was in any of this or how far any of this went. But, it just... I saw Jason Pete say... Jason Pete, member of the team, shout out to him. He said, I read through those documents quickly and I stopped. It's bad. It's really bad. And he says the language used in the text is the language of Vince, or sounds like it. And that is what got me, too. It's just you read it, and you hear it in Vince's voice, and you go, yeah, sounds like Vince. Just the vocabulary, just the phrases, the things he says, it sounds like him.
I just feel like he'd be better at grammar. Like, he's a smart guy. It just seems like he's a child the way he texts. That's just the way that looked at me.
Nah, I don't know.
It's not. I don't know Vince. I'm just saying, like,
yeah,
the fact that he writes B as just the B letter. Like, I think Vince would actually write it out. Like, it's kind of lazy that way. But maybe that's the way he texts. I don't know. I don't know Vince personally. So
yeah,
to me, it just looked juvenile the way he texts. But maybe that's the way he is.
The texts are so graphic. Like, I don't want to read them. They're gross.
I don't want to read it either. But the text that she did write back to him, it did seem that she was on board with whatever was going on at a certain point in time.
I didn't see any of that. I didn't see where she was on board. But I haven't read the whole thing. I haven't.
Yeah, you don't want to, honestly.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
What I have seen and what I have read, I go, yeah, that seems enough. I go, yeah, I believe it. I don't know if I need to read all the documents, but I probably will at some point just to see everything he was up to. But it feels credible is the thing. And I think that's the main point. Like, I don't know if you need to know all the details. I think that the point is, you get some details, and then you feel like, yeah, do you believe it or not? And I do believe it. And, yeah. The Brock Lesnar stuff, that's wild. Promising her, in exchange for Brock signing a new contract with WWE, like, it's a step too far. So they got rid of Vince, which they had to at this point. They had to. And I think this is
now, well, you mean Vince being gone for good? Yeah. I mean, this is going to court with that. So, I mean, he's going to try to protect his legacy at least. Like, I'm sure everyone, regardless if he's found guilty or not, people will just presume he's guilty anyways, and he found a way to get through the system or something. But regardless, like with Vince, like whether he comes back or not, it doesn't really make a difference because was he really doing anything with WWE?
I don't know. I mean, he was still executive chairman of TKO. He still had a say.
But he didn't run WWE. He wasn't really doing anything. No. You weren't going to see him on TV anytime soon.
No.
Now,
but this is it. Like, this is the end of his career. And Brock Lesnar, I don't think, can be seen anymore either, John.
That's rough for Brock because, like, again, allegations.
Dude, the allegations are pretty bad. They're pretty bad.
But again, like, it hasn't been proven yet.
Not yet.
It's like, you're going to... But his career has to be over because of that? Like...
Yes.
That's rough.
If you are being accused of this type of stuff in this type of detail and it feels this credible, I think it's got to at least take a pause until we find out the results of this lawsuit. I don't think we see Brock at WrestleMania. I think it would be difficult to accept Brock Lesnar in a wrestling ring right now?
It wouldn't be just that. They have to go a step further. Again, for the sponsors, to keep them on board, they have to cut ties with Brock altogether? Not just keep him off television, just like not have him associated with the company at all. They might have to go that step far.
Like,
I could see that happen.
Show his face?
No, just say that Brock Lesnar is not under contract with WWE and wishing the best future endeavors. I could see that going down. If they actually have a contract with him right now, I can see Brock getting released.
Do they have a contract with him right now?
I imagine they have some sort of agreement with him. He was expected to come back at some point. We always see him around WrestleMania time, no?
I didn't expect him for WrestleMania this year.
I thought he'd come back. I felt like him and Gunther, like, it made sense. There was something there. And there's enough stars in WWE, like, you can just throw Brock in anywhere, really.
I don't think they're gonna bring Brock back anytime soon. I don't think they should. I don't think they should. Yeah. It seems like a lot of people knew in WWE. They're gonna have to clean house. A lot of people were aware of this type of behavior and were, if not encouraging it, at least, allowing it to kind of go down. Vince, in his own text said this woman had a fan club and all these guys were enjoying what he was showing them, all these explicit videos of her. So there are other guys that were aware of this, other guys that work for WWE. A lot of people were aware of this type of behavior from Vince. Whether or not they could do anything, I mean, he's Vince McMahon. He's the boss. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? He's very powerful in pro wrestling. But this seems to have been known. Given how free Vince seemed to have been with sharing this with people around him, people knew. Right? Given some of the details in the lawsuit, some of Vince's own text messages to this woman. He's showing like dozens of people videos and saying they can all have a turn. It's wild stuff. It's like next level. But yeah, I don't think Brock shows his face. I don't think there's any more Brock. Not for at least a couple years. And that's warranted, I think, at this point. If this is all true, right, with Brock Lesnar, come on. You can't be doing that.
Yeah, but if it's not, you pretty much, ended Brock's career prematurely.
Okay. I guess. But, I mean, this adds a whole new wrinkle to the Brock Lesnar walking out of SmackDown when he found out Vince was leaving.
Yeah, a little bit, I would say, yeah. I think they always had that connection. Like,
well, they had a connection, all right.
Not so much that, but yes. It's just that he's the reason why. And like, he always put over Vince. Even in his book when he was kind of against Vince a little bit, he always put over that Vince was smart.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good negotiator. Like everyone else was twisted. Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to piss off Brock Lesnar, if you know what I mean. You just want to send him videos of you pissing, apparently. This is what he's requesting, according to the lawsuit. The piss jokes with Brock Lesnar will be relentless forever. Forever. Brock Lesnar has flushed his career down the toilet. The toilet, like, by the way, is where pee should go, Brock Lesnar.
Well, as you know, some people, they like to put it back in, so.
All right. Yeah. So it's
UFC fighters did that, didn't they? Come on.
Yes. Lyoto Machida did used to drink his own urine. That is true. I think Brock could go to the UFC. I don't think he could go to the WWE right now, but I think he could walk right into UFC 300 and main event that thing, and it would be all fine.
But didn't Dana say that like Brock, Ronda, all that stuff's not happening?
Yeah, I don't think it is either. But it could. It could. It's more likely than Brock showing up in the WWE anytime soon.
Well, it's not just sponsors they got to worry about. They got to worry about the whole company image as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the company is based around, getting kids interested in the programming. And when there's this dark cloud around it, doesn't really look good for parents to want to bring their kids to WWE shows. No, I imagine with you, I don't know how it was in your household when this stuff came out, but I don't know if there was any like, oh, maybe you shouldn't watch WWE, or maybe that Vince McMahon toy that's gonna go in the box forever.
No, I mean, you don't talk about that stuff with the kids. I'm not talking about Vince McMahon sex trafficking and naming dildos and shit after WWE wrestlers and using them on women. Like, no, I'm not talking about that with my kids, man. They're 6 and 1, almost 2, but like that's not a discussion that we have. So
Right.
there, WWE is the same, PG product. It's still the safer wrestling product for kids compared to AEW. Or frankly, any other wrestling show. WWE is the safest wrestling show, most family-friendly wrestling show, and it continues to be. Despite, the owner of the company, or the former owner, the founder of the company. I mean, he's no longer around. He's not really relevant anymore in pro wrestling. And that is a good thing. Because in 2024, Vince McMahon really has no place in professional wrestling, not just from a behavior standpoint, but from a creative standpoint. Like, it was enough. And you see the WWE and the business that they're doing, and they are flourishing. We're heading into a Royal Rumble this weekend that looks fantastic. On paper, this looks like a great show. We have 2 Royal Rumble matches where you're going in not sure who's going to win. We have WrestleMania 40 coming up with The Rock potentially coming back to main event against Roman Reigns. WWE just signed a $5 billion 10-year deal with Netflix to start running WWE Raw in 2025. WWE Raw in the States, by the way, WWE Raw here in Canada and internationally. Not just Raw, but I think they were saying Smackdown and all the premium live events, like all of WWE for us. Maybe on Netflix? I'm not sure exactly.
Well, the Sportsnet contract ends at the end of the year, so
Fantastic.
I believe Netflix is getting Canada Netflix is getting all WWE programming.
That's great. I'm going to get rid of cable TV. I won't need it anymore. I'll only have Netflix. It'll be great in 2025. My cable bill will disappear. Tremendous. I look forward to it. So, huge business the WWE is doing. Massive news. And on the other hand, their old news, Vince McMahon, Johnny Ace, still causing trouble, still dragging the company down, losing sponsors. So they said, Vince, that's enough. We are done. Resign. And he did. Saying the allegations are false and they're gross and all of this, but what else are you going to say? It's true. I did it all. Ah, ha, ha. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Like, what's he going to say? He's not going to say it's true. He's going to fight it in court, obviously. It's so horrible. All the shit he's accused of is so horrible that you can't help but deny it. There's no way you can just be like, yeah, I did it. I'm going to pay her off. It's fine. It's too much.
In his statement, he says it's a distortion of the truth.
Right.
So when he says something like that, it's like, well, some of it is true then. That's what it sounds like when he says that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, rich old guys pay young women for sex things all the time. Right? That's like a thing. Sugar daddies and such, right? That's like a thing I've heard about on TV. I'm not a rich old guy, so I don't really know about it. And I'm not a young woman. So,
We'll have to ask people, I guess.
You should find an old lady to pay you for sex things, John. That'd be good. You get rich, find some rich old lady to pay you for some sex things. Maybe you could be the Intercontinental Champion or something. You know? What's Linda McMahon doing these days? Sorry.
Yeah, I don't think it works like that. And
I don't think it works like that for you
terrible.
either, John. Sorry, John. I don't think it's going to work. What I'm saying is I don't understand this world, but I have heard that it happens. You know? You hear about these things happening all the time. Rich old dudes paying women for things to hang out with them and, supplementing their lifestyle for whatever. And they do sex things. And it's a thing that happens. But, Vince is being accused of sex trafficking, which kind of goes beyond that arrangement. But it's all shady arrangements, When you start getting into that world where you're like, hey, hang out with me, do sex with me, and I'll pay for your apartment, I'll give you a job, and I'll take care of you, and everything's fine. And then, you're paying her a bunch of stuff, and it's like, my friend really likes you. How about you go see my friend? And she's like, okay, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how that works, man. I can't even imagine the scenario. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. I don't know why you would... from every perspective, it's odd to me. It's not my world, man. I'm not a billionaire.
Well,
I don't get it. It's just weird shit to me. But I have heard that this happens, and when you're saying like distortion of reality, distortion of the truth, I think Vince is probably thinking like, I was paying her and we were, she knew what she was getting into and I knew what I was paying for and this is what we did. But that doesn't seem to be her perspective, right?
Well, when this happened too, Vince was what, 74 at the time?
I don't know. I mean, you think she's the only one that this has happened to? She's not the only one that Vince has paid off. So, who knows? Who knows what's happening here?
It's a very sad story. And again, hopefully the truth comes out and everything's revealed and it gets proven in court.
I'm just trying to understand it. And it's hard for me to understand because it's baffling. All this stuff that he's doing, shitting on people, sending Brock Lesnar piss videos, fantasizing about this woman with multiple men, and then he's involved. It's just like, it's this crazy Vince world. And you go, on the one hand, you go, yeah, I could see Vince doing that. But on the other hand, you go, people are really doing this? Is Vince really doing this? It's like you believe it because Vince is just this crazy character that you imagine in your mind. But at the same time, you go, fucking really? It's a lot, man. There's just so much. It's shocking to me. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, and I go, yeah, okay. It's just best to get rid of him and Brock and everybody right now because they're all being accused of shit. So it's like, all right, let's step away from these dudes and let the legal people figure it all out. Looks very bad for the WWE, but again, like I said, the Rumble will be big. They've got the deal with Netflix. Things are moving in the right direction for the WWE in every other aspect. AEW's business looking bad. They're killing it.
Here's another question, and I know you complained about this on the last AEW pay-per-view, saying that it's all this fake media. They're not going to ask the hard questions, and they did ask the hard question about Jericho, even though that's just complete innuendo rumor stuff. This we have actual documents, court documents, and will anyone ask the question at the WWE press conference for the Rumble? I know people are saying they will. I wonder if it will actually happen. I feel WWE will make sure it doesn't happen.
I think somebody's going to ask the question. They have to.
I think WWE will go ahead of time and say look, we're not going to address this, or they'll have a statement to start it saying, this is how we feel about it. Move on. That's what's going to happen. So then no one asks the question and they don't have to air it.
That would be the smart thing to do. To address it.
That's what they'll do.
address it. Say, this is Vince McMahon no longer has anything to do with TKO, so this is a civil matter, and we're going to let Vince McMahon and his legal team handle it. This has nothing to do with us anymore.
Yeah.
Hands clean. Not us. This was Vince. Vince doesn't work for us anymore. We didn't know any of this was going on. I don't even know Vince. Vince who? I never heard of him. His daughter. Who's his daughter? What are you talking about? His grandkids. Oh, yeah, I know them, I think. I don't know. Maybe. Just pretend he doesn't know him. That'll work. Hey, it's not like he's closely related to Vince or anything.
Yeah, just all those pictures with the whole family with Trump is going to keep popping up if he says that. But yeah.
Doesn't Trump have to pay somebody off too? He's got to pay like 80-something million to somebody. I saw that.
Something
I didn't
like
really
that, yeah.
look at the details. It's not good. Not a good day for dudes like that. For Vince and Trump. Probably calling each other today like, God damn, pal. What the hell?
Well, they lost a lot of money, but they still have a lot of money, so I don't really shed any tears for them.
No, I shed no tears for those bastards. Triple H and Stephanie, like, what are the conversations about this like? What's happening there? Stephanie needs to do an interview. Come on this show, Stephanie. I know you're watching. We love you. We support you. We want you on Wrestling Uncensored.
I honestly hope she's enjoying her life, being a mom. Because she probably didn't get to enjoy that before. Now she gets to.
Maybe. You're real nice about that. I don't know. I mean, she's got to be thinking something about. Yeah, but look, man, look what her dad is being accused of. You don't think she's got thoughts about it? You don't think her and Triple H are talking about this? Go on, man. It's a big deal.
I imagine she's kind of torn up about it. Because I think she loves her father.
Probably. Although there was that clip of Stephanie on SmackDown that resurfaced. Did you see that? The promo where she's...
one? There's so many.
Well, there's a promo where she's yelling at Vince.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, You sent me to go have dinner with your business partners. And I was 17... And you don't think they told me what you said I would do for them, and I did it, Dad. I did it because I loved you. It's fucking crazy. I'll send it to you. She's basically saying... I
vaguely remember that,
yeah. She's saying on SmackDown, very emotionally, that Vince was sex trafficking her at 17. This was part of a promo on SmackDown. And it came out again yesterday. People were posting it on Twitter. I was like, yeah, that does not aged well. And also, when you see it and you see the emotion on Stephanie, you go, was there something to this? Did something actually happen here? How fucking deep does this go, man? How far does this go? There's the rumors of Macho Man, and of course Slim Jim. It's Macho Man's ultimate revenge. Slim Jim, the sponsorship pulls out. Vince then, TKO group panics. They get Vince out of there. And the only reason that Vince and the WWE have the sponsorship with Slim Jim is because of Macho Man. And, of course, there's all those rumors of Macho Man leaving WWE because of some sort of relationship with an underage Stephanie McMahon. A lot of rumors about that. Whether or not it's true, who knows? But the Slim Jim... coming back here, I don't know. Makes you think. Is this some sort of sign? Is this something? Is there more to it? Horrible.
Well, I imagine if Slim Jim pulled out, I imagine there was others thinking about or telling them they were planning to pull out. So I think that may have also pushed TKO to get Vince out.
Yeah.
You lose too much, that's going to cost you regardless.
Interesting. I mean, Dana White, who runs the UFC, was recently saying, if sponsors don't agree with our politics, we don't want them. We don't care about what the sponsors think about our politics or anything we say, and da-da-da. And I was like, really? That's a strange approach.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't
Same
believe
company.
you said that.
Same company. You should see the things that Dana says. They're wild. Things fly in the UFC that could never fly in the WWE.
Well, different sponsors too, I imagine as well. I imagine
yeah.
Bud Light, like, kind of different philosophy thinking than Slim Jim, probably.
I guess.
Different target audience too, as well.
I'm not sure. Who is the target audience for Slim Jims?
I imagine that goes from like a wide range right there compared to Bud Light, where you're kind of it's got to be 21 and up, right?
I guess. I like a Slim Jim. Slim Jim's all right.
The spicy ones are okay.
I like a good pepperoni stick, you know? Good cock of pepperoni.
Yeah.
Pepperoni cock. Like Ricky, you know? Hey, you got a couple cocks of pepperoni? Like how you call them, you know? Because he had the big thick pepperoni he would eat there on Trailer Park Boys. A lot of pepperoni on that show. He really liked pepperoni. A lot of pepperoni talk. Ray eating Ricky's pepperoni. Tremendous. Is Slim Jim pepperoni? Or is it like a beef jerky? I'm not even sure. It's a pepperoni stick, right?
I feel you could get a pepperoni one, if I'm not mistaken. You can do different flavors.
Pepperoni's just kind of funny to say, isn't it? Pepperoni. It's like it's a weird meat. It's a weird meat to eat. I do like a pepperoni. Who doesn't like a good pepperoni? You know, I actually got some pepperoni sticks in a little bag. They're called Lil Peps. They're like little pepperoni cocks. Lil Peps. They're pretty good.
Huh.
I was like, Ricky would eat this. This would be something Ricky would eat. It's like very Canadian. There's like a hockey image on it. It says, "This is our game" for some reason on it. I'm like, why is it's like marketed for hockey, I guess? Maybe hockey players love pepperoni? I have no idea. Very strange. Lil Peps. Why are we talking about pepperoni? Slim Jim. That's why. There we go. I was like, why am I talking about Lil Peps? So we got chicken fingers.
No, chicken fingers. You got to talk about something else.
Chicken fingers. Chips.
Ravioli.
Ravioli, of course. Fries. Of course, burned down Ray's trailer. Infamous fries.
That's true.
That was the potatoes, right? It wasn't the fries. It was the potatoes that Ricky was making. Bubbles thought it was the fries, but it was Ricky. Potatoes, I think. Anyways. Wrestling. Royal Rumble is tomorrow. We're going to preview all of that. Angelo says, I like a good pepperoni. Shout out to Lior. Shout out to Angelo. Jimmy James. Jason Pete. Ray Cruz. And all the members checking in tonight. Members joining over at join.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Yeah. Vince McMahon resigning from his spot as executive chairman of the TKO Group, resigning from the board of directors, joining the board of directors of TKO this week, The Rock.
Yeah, that's right. That happened this week.
Yeah. So that was big. The Rock now, one of the board of directors of the company that runs the WWE. He's kind of Triple H's boss.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
A little bit. Head of the table. Yeah, he's at the table. Roman's not at that table.
That feud just escalated now, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Thanks.
I think we're going to have that match at WrestleMania, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. I saw in the chat people were thinking maybe it wasn't going to happen now that the Vince news, The Rock would distance himself, but The Rock's already all in on TKO. He's in the board of directors. He's not distancing himself. He's jumping right in. He's going to wrestle at Mania.
Thanks.
Well, I guess there was a report there that he didn't have like a wrestling contract yet, but like you said, if he's on the board of directors, I don't imagine that's going to be too hard to figure that out, the details of that.
Yeah.
If anything, we need to see The Rock just more on television. That'd be great to see. But make it a surprise because he can show up anytime.
Will he
Got a
show
lot
up
of
at the
time for
Royal Rumble?
WrestleMania. I don't think it really needs it. I mean, you got 2 Rumble matches. I feel The Rock doesn't need the Rumble to do it. Feel like they want to save those surprises because the spots are kind of limited for the men at least. So I don't think you really need to use The Rock here. Now, you kind of said it, I think, last week or the week before. Like, you don't need The Rock to win something to go to WrestleMania. Although the Elimination Chamber is not a bad idea, still.
Yeah, I don't think he needs to win anything. I think they could set it up by just having The Rock show up, stand across the ring from Roman Reigns, and you're ready to go for WrestleMania. I think that whoever wins the Royal Rumble will challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. I'm just a little bit shaky on who that might be at this point.
Really?
A little bit. A little bit. I'm wavering a tad, I would say, between Gunther and CM Punk. I still think that my pick would be CM Punk, but I am wavering. And I will tell you who I want to win the Royal Rumble. There is one man I want to win the Rumble more than anyone. And I think you can guess who it is, John.
Is it when it comes crashing down, I'm guessing?
That's right, brother. There's only one man that should win the Royal Rumble, brother. 40 years of Hulkamania, dude. Hulk Hogan. He says he's got one more in him. He's doing little promos. That promo he did tonight with the Tampa thing, the Tampa promo, that was excellent. That was excellent stuff. I loved it so much. Give me more Hogan. Always more Hogan. Never stop giving me Hogan. Forever. Forever. I never get tired of it. I love him so much. I know people hate him and he's a racist and all of that. And I get it. But, like, there's something about Hulk Hogan that I love so much. The character, the gimmick, everything. You know, nostalgia. All right? Sorry. He's a racist. It's not cool. Racism is bad, okay? I don't like it.
It is, and I think
but at least he's not a sex trafficker, you know? I mean, at this point in wrestling, you kind of go, well, a lot of guys have done a lot of bad shit. Anyways, Hogan should win the Rumble. Hogan should come in as number 30, win the Rumble, shock the world, challenge Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, tell Roman, like, you're going to beat the record, you're going to beat my record, brother. I don't think so. I'm going to take the title from you because Hulk Hogan is forever. Hulkamania is forever. And then you have face-to-face Roman Reigns, Hulk Hogan contract signing or something. And Hogan gets beat down by the Bloodline. And you go, oh, my God, they killed him. He's dead. And then who comes out? The Rock to save his old pal Hulkster. He cleans house. He signs the contract. Rock Roman WrestleMania. Bada bing, bada boom. You have Hogan win the Rumble one more time. He doesn't actually have to do anything. He just has to come in at 30, do a clothesline, maybe a big boot, win the Rumble. Then you have him challenge Roman on SmackDown. Everybody goes, what the hell? And then The Rock saves the day, and then that's how you do Roman versus Rock at WrestleMania. I mean, it would be so much fun if they did that. That would be the best outcome, I think. And then you do Elimination Chamber for the other stuff, you know? Figure it out with Cody and Seth and Gunther and Punk and whoever you want with some other stuff, you know? But make Hogan the winner. Everybody's like, it's going to be Gunther or Cody or Punk. And you go, scrap all that. It's the Hulkster, brother. What you gonna do? I'd be so fucking hyped. I would go nuts, man. It would be the greatest Royal Rumble in the history of Royal Rumbles. The greatest.
I feel Edge. That was still pretty good too. When Edge won his last one, that was a pretty good Rumble. I thought.
I still
Even
say Flair Rumble is the best Rumble ever, but
it was good.
best ever.
But the Edge one was pretty good. Like again, the caliber of wrestling has improved since '92. So I feel like it was quite good, that one. Also, just the Edge comeback as well. Like that, arguably was one of the best, if not best, moment in Rumble history. That was incredible when he came back. So
Best moment in Rumble history.
when Edge came back,
I don't know.
like that was incredible. I thought.
Oh, I think when Cena came back early from the neck injury at the Garden in the Rumble, that was more. Well, that was crazy.
That was one of the biggest groans I've ever had. Yeah, when that happened. Yes.
Everybody went nuts, John. Everybody couldn't believe it. He was supposed to be out for like a year. He was gone for 2 months. It was insane. You go, what? This guy's superhuman. And he won the Rumble after? That was... I know you hate John Cena, but come on, man. That was crazy.
Well, I'll actually put Cena over a little bit here. I mean, every once in a while, like, got to give the devil his due. He did admit the fact that he was wrong when he pointed out to The Rock in the promo where he said, like, oh, like, you wrote it on your wrist or something, or you wrote it on your arm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he admitted that was wrong to do, and he shouldn't have done that because he went into business for himself. And now that's, he broke the trust that you have with people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Hangman did. And he finally admitted, like, he was wrong. So I'm like, well, at least he admits he was a horrible person at the time.
Wow.
Obviously, he says it now because, it helps him. But still, at least he admitted he did it wrong.
All right.
So I give Cena that at least.
Who do you dislike more, John Cena or Shawn Michaels? Because both guys, no matter how great they are, like, you can't just give them any credit on anything. It's amazing.
No, but I give Shawn credit here too, because Shawn recently stated too that he's the reason we have LA Knight right now, because they wanted to fire him. And he's like, look, you got to look past the 3-8 and look at what we have right here. And because of Shawn, like, we have LA Knight right now. I mean, obviously LA Knight, the actual talent there, but Shawn saw that at least.
Mm-hmm.
And was one of the people behind, like, hey, like, keep him here at least. So at least, again, some good from one of the worst human beings in professional wrestling history.
All right.
At least there's some good there.
Okay, who's winning the Royal Rumble? I think that's the big question. Let's get right into it. Why fuck around? The Royal Rumble match, Man's Rumble. Then we'll do Lady Rumble. Man Rumble first. There are 17 men. 17 men announced for this thing. Last week, I think we had 6. We got 17, and I will give you the 17. I don't know. They announced them on YouTube, I think. Here we go. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Nakamura, not winning. Bobby Lashley, not winning. Drew McIntyre, nope. Gunther, maybe. Chad Gable, come on. Otis, nah. Tozawa, nah. Kofi Kingston, nah. Damian Priest, he's got Money in the Bank and he's in the Rumble. I mean, he's not winning this. Santos Escobar, nah. R-Truth, Carlito, nah. Grayson Waller, Austin Theory, nah. Jimmy Uso would be an interesting story, but probably not. But those are the guys in the Rumble. I think Punk and Gunther are the guys with real shots at winning. We saw Gunther open up the Monday Night Raw this past week with Seth Rollins. Seth saying that he is injured, but he will not have surgery, and he's looking to rehab the injury and be back at full strength in about a month. So Seth is taking some time off, I guess. It wasn't clear what the plan was for Seth. Like, do we see him on Raw Monday night? Is he going to be around? What? I don't know. But he's not wrestling, I guess, for the next month or so.
Or more.
They didn't really give us much information. They said Seth is hurt. We knew Seth was hurt. We knew that he was going to make some sort of announcement about the World Heavyweight title and its future, and he didn't really. He just said, I'm hurt, and I'm going to try and remain around. I'm not dropping the belt. I'm hoping to be back and have a big match at Mania. I'm not going to wrestle for a month or so, and then we'll see. Wasn't much of an update. It still leaves the situation kind of in limbo.
Well, it's funny, Mr. Fighting Champion won't be defending the championship until WrestleMania now. So that's interesting. Roman Reigns gets more title defenses in the meantime than Mr. Fighting Champion, but I get it. He's hurt. That sucks. But I don't like the idea that he's just going to wait till WrestleMania. To me, that's just, we're just going to wait now. Nothing's going to happen. In the meantime, well, too bad. So that's kind of like a huge bummer, I think, for a lot of people who are interested in the story, and a lot for Damian Priest, who I thought they completely buried at the beginning of that show, because the world champion comes out in the ring with his knee taped up, bandaged up, in a brace, and he did nothing. At least tease a cash in or get stopped or something, but he didn't even try. And now nothing's going to happen. Yeah, that sucked in my opinion. I wasn't a fan of that.
It was nice that That's true. It didn't make a lot of sense. He didn't come out at all.
But it's nice they gave Gunther that moment, and it made you believe that Gunther could possibly win. I thought it was just a good way to hype Gunther up, but I don't see him going on and going to WrestleMania. To me, it's too much out of nowhere with this. I expect him to have a very strong showing because he was number one last year and went all the way to the end. I expect him to pretty much be in the Final Four again, but not to win, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of going back and forth on all this. There was a report that came out that said Gunther was going to wrestle Seth in Mania and Cody was going to wrestle Punk. And, of course, we saw those promos. Say it again?
Huh? I actually would prefer that. I just don't think that's what's going to happen. I would like that, to be honest, but I don't think that'll happen.
It just makes a lot of sense because if Cody doesn't wrestle Punk, and Punk winds up wrestling Seth, where does that leave Cody? Unless they do a triple threat, Punk, Seth, Cody.
I heard four-way maybe. Possibly
with Gunther. With Gunther?
Right.
Okay. Maybe.
It's kind of messy, but yeah, it's something. I still go with the singles, to be honest, but I'm not picking Gunther to win the Rumble. I got Punk to win the Rumble. I think that's what people want to see the most is Seth versus Punk. And if we're just going to wait for Seth, fine, I guess. I'd rather them give it to Priest now, and then we can kind of figure it out on the way to WrestleMania, but I guess they want to do the cash-in at WrestleMania instead. Fine.
Yeah.
No activity now from both world champions, but fine, okay.
I think Punk probably winds up winning the Rumble.
Makes sense.
But, anything could happen.
Well, here's the thing, too.
Anything could happen, and I almost would rather see Gunther win it because he's been around the WWE. He's been working hard. You kind of want to elevate Gunther. Punk doesn't really need it, although Punk's never won a Royal Rumble. It would make sense to have him win at some point, given how big of a star he is and everything. But, do you want to give him all those accolades, given the nature of CM Punk and how he is? And the fact that he may leave the company in 6 months after punching somebody in the face, you never know. I don't know how much you can trust Punk with, a Rumble victory. Do you want to push him that hard with that type of win right off the bat? Instead of giving it to one of the guys that you can trust, like Gunther.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things you got to take into consideration here. One, on television, Punk hasn't wrestled yet. This is technically his debut in WWE, or re-debut.
Mm-hmm.
Most big stars, when they come back, you saw with Randy not too long ago, they win their first match back at least. This is Punk's return right here. So, and the way it's going to shape up or shape out in the end is that you're going to have a good guy win, then heel, and then good guy ends the show. Or good person.
CM Punk's a good person? I don't know about that.
I think he gets cheered more than booed. I think that makes him a good person.
He's a babyface. He's babyface. Just because you get cheered doesn't mean you're a good person, John. A lot of people get cheered. They're bad people.
It's all how you look at it. It depends.
Okay.
I'm sure some people would think Gunther's a good person. Because, what he believes in is true, right? Like,
these are characters.
He thinks he's doing the right thing.
I don't know. What? It's fake, John.
What he thinks he's doing is the right thing.
What do you mean?
He believes in himself. His character believes what he's doing is right, so he thinks he's a good person. But everyone boos him, so that makes him a bad person.
You fucking lost me. Okay, so we got CM Punk as the Royal Rumble winner for the men. I was thinking maybe Gunther, but in the end, I feel like they will give it to Punk. He was my pick, leading into this thing, and only this week I started thinking, maybe somebody else, maybe Gunther, maybe Cody. Yeah, but I feel like it'll be a Punk in the end. But I want it to be Hogan. I want it to be Hogan so bad, and I think that the idea that I laid out there with The Rock saving Hogan from a Bloodline beatdown could set up WrestleMania easily.
Well, I'll say this about Hogan. I think the idea of one more isn't so much the Rumble. I think it's just one more moment for him. He doesn't even have to have a match. They just maybe have a moment like at WrestleMania. Like when he comes out, beats down somebody. That's all you really need from Hogan. I don't think you need him to do a match because I don't know if he can do a match at this point. But if he can at least come down to the ring, do an entrance, just punch some people out, and that's it. That's all.
And win the Royal Rumble.
Doesn't have to win anything. It just has to be the moment.
Why can't he win the Rumble?
Because he's too beat up at this point.
He doesn't have to do anything to win the Rumble. He just needs to clothesline a couple people over the top rope. He doesn't have to take a bump. He doesn't have to do a thing. He can come in at 30, knock people over the top rope, win the Rumble, and just parade around the ring, and we could close Royal Rumble in Tampa, brother, with Hogan just posing. And then, on SmackDown, you do a promo one week, you do a promo with Roman the next, and they punch him a bit, and he falls to a knee, and he falls to his butt, and then they put the boots to him, and then The Rock saves him, and he doesn't need to do a leg drop. He doesn't need to do anything. He doesn't need to get off his feet. As long as he can get in the ring, he can win the Royal Rumble. That's all I'm saying. Like, he doesn't need to do much to win the Royal Rumble. So if you're going to give him one last moment, why not have it be win the Royal Rumble? He's Hulk Hogan. He's the biggest star in the history of pro wrestling. If you're not going to let him win the Rumble when he's old and beat up and done, who would you, who would you allow it for?
Well, I think it's fair to say you'd give it to Steve Austin if Steve Austin wants to come back.
That's what I'm saying. Same thing.
Steve Austin has shown recently that he can do a bit more than, an odd match or two. Like, I feel like he could do a little bit. Hogan, I'm concerned just walking to the ring and punching a couple people, that might be maxing him out. So put him in a Rumble, that's a dangerous situation. I'd worry about that. I know it sounds like it's not that complicated, but for Hogan, all the injuries that he's been through,
yeah,
I'd be worried about that.
I think he could easily do it. I don't think they're gonna do it.
I should win the Rumble, Angelo. I agree. I should win the Rumble, Angelo, but WWE's stupid. They don't agree with you.
They haven't booked him. Angelo thinks that Johnny should win the Rumble. Antoinette says, stay home, Hogan. Dave, you can't be serious. I mean, I'm half serious.
Your fantasy booking is fine. Everyone's allowed to do that.
He's talking about it. He's around. And I think, yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see Big Terry do it one more time. Get him a win. And then don't do the match at Mania. Like I said, John, he needs to step into the ring, punch a couple guys, and that's it. They fly over the top rope for him. They bump like Shawn Michaels did at SummerSlam, and he wins. He doesn't have to do anything. As long as he can stand and throw the Hogan punch. Like, what's dangerous there? What's dangerous?
It's a Rumble match. A Rumble match, things can go awry sometimes.
Not if you come in at 30. Not if you come in at 30 and there's like two guys in the ring when you get there. If Hogan comes in and it's Punk and Cody at the end, or Punk and Gunther, and Hogan comes in and he punches him and they go flying over the top rope, I mean, it wouldn't make those guys look very good.
I'm questioning this booking completely right here. I don't know about this.
All right, say it's R-Truth. He's by himself, and he's like, oh, shit, I'm going to win the Rumble. And then, here comes Hogan. It's Truth and Hogan, and Truth, like, bumps over the top for Hogan. And people wouldn't like that, the racial aspect, I think. People would be mad for that. Couldn't be
digging yourself a huge hole.
Have to be somebody else. Austin Theory or somebody you don't like, a heel. Because if Truth came out, too, and people thought Truth was going to win the Rumble, people would be mad. Anyways. It's not going to happen, okay? Nice. It's not going to happen. CM Punk's going to win the Rumble. I just love Hogan. What's wrong with that? All right? Some people don't like Hogan. Right. I do like Hogan. He was my first ever favorite wrestler, All right.
I wouldn't want anyone to have a heart attack in the ring. That would be horrific. So
yeah, that'd be terrible. We don't need any of that, especially not the Hulkster. I mean, come on, brother. Okay. So we've got Punk winning the men's Rumble. You think we're going to see any surprises? We've got 17 out of the 30 participants named already, so there's only 13 that we don't know about. I saw a rumor Andrade might make his return.
Yep, I heard Andrade. X-Pac is a possibility. They said there's going to be NXT in the Rumble. Now, they didn't say which Rumble, but there's a possibility to get an NXT talent. I think we always get at least one or two, right, for the men?
Mm-hmm.
I know for the women, it's almost like a guarantee because they have to fill that one up. But
yeah,
I think for the men, we're going to get something.
Carmelo Hayes, he was on SmackDown tonight, and that other guy, Trick Daddy.
I feel like they're already on SmackDown, kind of, or they're kind of already making that move. That's kind of cheap in a sense. Like Braun Breaker being in the Rumble, was it last year? Like that's kind of a thing because like he still stays in NXT. It's just more of like a hey, look out for this person.
Yeah.
Unlike you've already seen this person, let's showcase him even more.
I don't care about anybody from NXT being in the Rumble. It doesn't really add anything for me. I don't watch NXT. If I cared about people in NXT, I'd watch their show, but I don't. So I don't really care,
I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Pillman Jr. I don't think he's going to be on the main roster right away, but someone that maybe could highlight more in NXT.
How about Hogan? How about that? I think Hogan should be in. Young NXT wrestler Hulk Hogan, brother. Yeah, ridiculous. How about QT Marshall?
I feel that will get no reaction whatsoever. No offense to QT, but I don't know if that's going to really go over much at all.
How about MJF?
It's something. That would cause a major reaction, but I don't see that happening. One, not so much for the contract situation, whatever he's under, but I think he's hurt.
Yeah.
I think he'd still be world champion right now in AEW, but he's hurt, and he just can't wrestle right now, I think.
The contract, though, Don't know. Don't know what
Yeah,
the deal is.
I don't know. I don't know what's up with that, but I just think he can't wrestle right now. So
Mm-hmm. How about Kazuchika Okada?
yeah, that's a possibility. It's interesting. I don't know if it's gonna happen again. Like Okada, I would rather see him like with vignettes than like build that up, and then instead of just like throwing him out there. I don't know if it'd get much reaction to WWE.
I saw a rumor this week that he was going to NXT.
That might be better, so he gets used to the style, and they can build him up into something.
I'd watch NXT if Okada was there. I'd watch that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. It's a good reason to get people to watch NXT, that's for sure. So that'd be massive if they signed him, although people are thinking he might go to AEW. That's still kind of up in the air. Okay, how about the Women's Rumble? Only 6 women have been announced for this thing, which is crazy. Bayley, Nia Jax, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Maxine Dupree, and Ivy Nile have all been announced. That's it.
Why those two?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I think, they have a bunch of women that they could toss into the Rumble. Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, Katana Carter, Caden Chance, or whatever they... Katana Chance, Caden Carter, maybe
yeah.
I missed... Yeah, whatever.
You're morphing them into what?
I mean, whatever.
It's all right.
They lost the tag team titles tonight, by the way. Katana Chance and Caden Carter lost them to the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Once again, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, new champions tonight, crowned on SmackDown. And Damage Control standing there with all the gold, sucker. You've got Asuka and Kairi as the tag champs, Io Sky as the WWE Women's Champion, and Bayley looking to win the Rumble for Damage Control and perhaps take the title away from Rhea Ripley, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Bayley will fall short. We saw Bayley pick her number for the Rumble, and she seemed disappointed tonight on SmackDown, disappointed with her entry number in the Rumble. Maybe we'll see Bayley at number 1 or number 2 early on in the thing. Bianca Belair seemed happy with her number.
I think Bayley's number 2.
Okay.
That's my guess.
And Bayley, I don't think will win the Rumble, which will cause some sort of upset with Damage Control, and I think the breakup of Damage Control and possibly Bayley versus Io at Mania.
Yeah.
So I think Becky Lynch probably most likely to win the Rumble at this point. I wanted to see Bayley win. I really want to see Bayley win the Rumble, but looking at where we're at, I think it's either Becky or somebody that we haven't seen, announced yet. It's either Becky or maybe Jade Cargill or maybe Naomi, maybe Sasha Banks. Who knows what the WWE has up their sleeve. Most people saying Sasha Banks is going to AEW. She signed a contract. She's not going to be with the WWE, but, things change in wrestling and reporting, could be thrown off by certain things. So, I'm not sure. But Johnny's been saying Becky from the start. I was saying Bayley for a while, but just the more time passes and the more Damage Control succeeds and the pressure mounts on Bayley, the more I think, this story is kind of leading to Bayley failing at the Rumble and them kind of turning on her because she failed. And then she will strike back and turn babyface and win the title at Mania, I think. I think that's where we're headed.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, Bayley right now is this crude, horrible person who's coming up with this plan to take over all WWE, and her master plan is like coming together kind of thing, and she always has the evil laugh, and it's all going to backfire on her when she loses here. Instead, if she wins, wouldn't she not challenge Io and that completely throw it off, right? Because that's the plan. And then instead she'll be like the biggest heel of them all and like turn on. I mean, they could do that, right? Bayley's still the heel and like, oh, I've turned on you, Io. I'm gonna go against you instead, kind of thing. Like, I mean, they could stretch it if you want to stretch something. They could always do something like that, but it doesn't seem like that's what's gonna happen. So, but I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna pick Jade. I'm very surprised.
I don't think Jade makes sense right now. I think Becky versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania is the match to make. I don't know what you do with Jade right now. Maybe she's in the Rumble, but I don't think she would win it.
Interesting. I think if she's not winning it, she shouldn't be in it. That's my pick on Jade.
If she wins, what's the path to WrestleMania for her?
I mean, you would think her and Rhea, right?
Well, so Becky and Rhea, you just do it in Australia or something? At Elimination Chamber? Maybe? Jade and Rhea would be pretty cool. Happen. Yeah. So what are you predicting?
Well, I've said Becky from the start. I'm not changing it right here, but,
All right.
I'm just throwing other things out there. Like, I really thought you were going to pick a path for Jade here, and like, it's not impossible. I feel like if you look at the odds, I think she's still up there, but I'm still going to go with Becky because to me that makes the most sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that, again, that's a match that should be slam dunk for WrestleMania, I think.
Yeah, it seems like Becky and Rhea Ripley have been circling each other on Raw for a year now, and
at least
just kind of building and simmering under the surface, and we're waiting for it to happen, and here we go. It's time. Becky Rhea seems like a WrestleMania match. Rhea has been going through kind of nothing opponents all year, and Becky has been, feuding with Trish and doing her little thing with Nia Jax and just kind of doing side things and not really going after the champion, but it's about time. Rhea Ripley's been champion for 300 days now. It's most of a year. It's time for Becky to go after her. So I think Becky wins the Rumble. Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, so
yeah.
So disappointed.
Well,
because not a bad thing.
No, I just think like they've had 6 of these things, and this is going to be the 7th Women's Rumble, and for Becky to have won 2 of the 7, you go, all right, it's a lot.
Yeah, but
I'd like to spread it around a bit. Huh?
Like Becky would be the person to give it to, besides maybe Charlotte.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. Becky's great. I think it's fine. I just wanted Bayley to win it because I feel like Bayley has been doing better work over the past year.
Well, I'll say this. I think Bayley has a better story going into WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her going on to winning the Elimination Chamber is a better route to WrestleMania than winning the Rumble this way.
Yeah, and I think it also sets Bayley up as having no choice but to face Io at WrestleMania if she wins the Chamber, because Becky can win the Rumble, challenge Rhea for WrestleMania, and then Bayley could just be put in the Elimination Chamber and then win the Chamber match and have to face Io because that's what the match is for, right? Because the Rumble, it's not for one champion, it's for whoever. So if Bayley wins, she wouldn't challenge Io, and Bayley versus Rhea Ripley just doesn't make sense. Like, why?
I also think Bayley would actually be successful at WrestleMania. I think she would actually beat Io. Where with Rhea, I think Rhea might retain against Becky.
Yeah, I think so too. I would like her to do that. I think she needs a big win at a WrestleMania over somebody like Becky. Although
we'll see.
Did she beat Charlotte last year, or did Charlotte beat her?
She won. Becky.
Yeah, Rhea beat her,
right?
No, but Rhea beat Charlotte last year at Mania, right?
Beat Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah.
For the title.
Yeah. You beat Charlotte one year, you beat Becky the next. You're made.
Well, the only thing was that was kind of like a rematch too, right? Because they faced each other WrestleMania 36.
Yeah, they're 1-1.
Charlotte won, so
yeah. Okay. So we've got Becky winning the Women's Rumble. I expect to see Jade Cargill in the Women's Rumble. I expect to see Naomi in the Women's Rumble. Anybody else? Trish Stratus? Yeah, maybe. I didn't expect that, but yeah, possibly.
I saw Caitlyn apparently is coming back.
Caitlyn?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, apparently she had gear made or something. I don't know if it's just maybe for some sort of special event she's doing, but there's a rumor that's going to be her Rumble gear apparently. So I don't know if you probably didn't. I'm just throwing that out there, and you probably didn't know about that. But yeah,
That's surprising. I hadn't
yeah, I know,
heard
surprising.
about her in like years. I didn't know she was still wrestling.
I did. Yeah, I didn't know if she was even still active, but and that's it. Maybe she's just around the area, and that she just happens to have special gear made, or whatever. But I believe in those rumors. I could see that happen. They love just bringing back random whatever sometimes. We've seen that with Melina just coming back. Michelle McCool makes these random appearances every now and then.
Uh-huh.
They love just having these random, just like, oh, surprise kind of thing. Oh, Antoinette saw it, so yeah, I guess other people saw it.
I don't know. Do you think people are going to pop for Caitlyn?
Oh, I don't know. Like if people still remember, it's questionable.
Well, that's it.
I know you were a big fan. I remember
she was pretty good. Like she was all right, and she looked the part. She came in. I remember in NXT. I remember when she came in NXT. Everybody saw her and they were like, "Oh, well, she's gonna win. Look at her." Compared to everybody else, you go, "Oh, goddamn, pal." She looked like a WWE superstar. She was muscular. She had, the whole gimmick going. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, no, you're right.
But she didn't really get over, and it didn't really go anywhere. So if she comes back, I kind of go, well, why? The only reason I could think of is that I remember her in NXT being very good friends with AJ Lee, and I think that they were actually friends in real life. So maybe it's part of bringing AJ back because, as Ryan Katz is pointing out there in the chat, AJ would get a huge pop. I think AJ Lee as a return would be the biggest possible return you could do in the Rumble.
Yeah, of course, without question.
You think we get it?
Because maybe, I don't know. I mean, does she really want to do it now at this point? I don't know. Because she's not going to win it, right? So, I mean, do you really want to just go in, just up, you get thrown out a couple minutes?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really that worth it. I mean, it's a nice moment kind of thing, but it comes and goes kind of thing too as well.
What if she does win it and it's AJ Lee versus Io Sky at WrestleMania?
I mean, that's fun. I just don't see that happening whatsoever.
Why not?
I think it'd be a one-off if she came back for the Rumble. That's it. It's just something she'd like to do, just to see how it's like, kind of thing. And then it's kind of like what they did with Lita too. Like it's like, oh, come back in the Rumble, like, oh, that was fun, and then they made something out of that eventually, right?
Yeah.
She had a program with Becky, and then she came back again and won the tag titles, and then Trish made something out of that. So I mean, I think they're just trying to start something out, maybe, possibly.
Okay. All right. So Royal Rumble tomorrow night. We'll be on right after the Rumble. Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens, United States Championship. I think we've talked about this match before. Logan Paul should retain the U.S. title and go into WrestleMania as United States Champion. I think we're both expecting him to wrestle LA Knight at Mania.
Yeah, makes sense.
Roman Reigns defending the undisputed WWE Universal title against LA Knight, AJ Styles, and Randy Orton. Fatal 4-way. Yeah, Roman's not losing. Tribal Chief, number 1. He's going to win.
Roman's the man. He's going to remain the man.
As he should. As he should. Because going into WrestleMania
should be a good match.
As champion against The Rock. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. On paper, this pay-per-view looks really good. 4 matches. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, I think will be fun. Kevin Owens is going to make a good match out of it. The 4-way should be really good. Roman, Randy, AJ, LA Knight, like all 4 top-level professional wrestlers in there for a big match in front of a big crowd on a big show, man. It's the Royal Rumble. And it's a big moment for the WWE, too, heading into WrestleMania 40. And then the Royal Rumbles are always fun to watch. Who doesn't love a Royal Rumble? And I think, no matter what we're predicting, and even if we do come out correct on both Rumble predictions, John, we're all, we are kind of unanimous on who we think is going to win. Even if come out right, I think it'll still be kind of exciting, and I think the WWE will do a good job of making us at least question our pick at some point during the match, right? I think they'll make it interesting. I think Punk will wind up winning the Men's Rumble, but there'll be moments where you go, oh, maybe they're gonna give it to Gunther, half seconds here and there. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think they'll make it interesting. I think the Women's Rumble will be interesting. I like the Royal Rumble concept, I love a Rumble. It's one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year, if not my favorite. Who doesn't love the Rumble, right?
Well, I'm thinking the Women's Rumble starts the show. Then we'll have the U.S. title match. Then we'll have the Undisputed Universal Championship match. Then the Men's Rumble, I think, will end the show.
I would like to see the Men's Rumble open the show.
Good luck.
Why can't the Women's Rumble close the show? Why does it have to be the Women's Rumble opening and the Men's Rumble closing? Why can't the Men's Rumble just open the show? Why can't the Men's Rumble open the show, and then we have Logan Paul and Kevin Owens, and then we have the Women's Rumble, and then we have Roman Reigns in the main event? Because he's the tribal chief.
We've had that before, though. Roman and Kevin main evented the Rumble, and the Men's Rumble was like midway through the show or something.
Yeah.
So it's happened before. But I think in terms of how this all works out, the Men's Rumble, and you can disagree with this or not, I think the Men's Rumble is the most intriguing match in the whole show.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it probably closes the show. We will find out, though, when we watch the Royal Rumble tomorrow night, and stay tuned to the Ringside Report Network right after the Rumble. We'll be here, and we will tell you what happened, and we'll review it, and we'll give you our best matches and our score on 10 on the whole pay-per-view. And, if you've been here before on the post shows, you know the deal. And if you haven't, well, check us out. It'll be a good time. Tomorrow night, right here on the Ringside Report Network, right after the Royal Rumble, Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, two of the biggest stars in the WWE, had a face-to-face promo this week on Raw. Thought it was pretty damn good, And if this was the first promo of many leading into a potential match at WrestleMania, I really have no problem with it. I think they have a lot more they can say to each other leading into a match, and I think they did a really good job. And of the promos that Punk has done so far, this has probably been my favorite. This was a very good one. Like the interactions with other guys in the ring, and really just anything Punk has done so far in this run in WWE, I think this was the best promo segment with Cody.
Well, I still think the one he did on SmackDown was the best one, because he touched on so many elements right there, and there's just so many different routes you can go with Punk just off that one promo alone. With this one, it's targeted, and it's good. I definitely thought it was very good. I just found Punk was very strong in his stuff. I felt with Cody, I didn't really believe in a lot of what he was saying. Punk saying that he was the true American dream, yeah, I could believe that. Cody saying he was a true CM Punk, I'm like, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch there. I think he tried to be the CM Punk, and yeah, in some ways he is, some ways he isn't.
No, I bought what Cody was saying. I fully bought what Cody was saying. Cody started a rival wrestling promotion. CM Punk always talked about changing the industry, changing the business, doing all this stuff. Cody actually did it. Punk didn't change the business at all. Not one bit. He just got himself paid. He talked about changing the business. He didn't. He just changed his business. He just changed the CM Punk business. All that stuff was all talk with Punk. Cody meant it, did it, revolutionized it, and came back. Cody is more CM Punk than CM Punk. CM Punk talks it. Cody actually did it. He started the rival promotion. What are you talking about?
No, he started it, but he kind of left it too.
So?
He
So did Punk.
He walked away from it. Well, that's it. Like, he says like, oh, he's not like CM Punk. CM Punk walked away. Like, he walked away too. So that's it. Like,
well, Cody, he made a decision. He walked away from AEW, but the way Punk walked away from WWE and the way he left AEW, completely different than the way Cody left AEW and came to the WWE. Totally different. And I thought Cody had some really good points. I thought Punk had some good points too, but, overall I thought the promo was very good. Or for you to say Cody didn't have any, I mean, come on, man. Cody went and he started AEW. CM Punk always talked about changing the business, but Cody actually did. Cody, the Bucks, and Kenny actually did. Punk didn't.
No, he definitely made an impact without question. It's just, it didn't last long for him. He talks about, oh, Punk came and left. Like, again, you're the same thing. And,
no. AEW still exists.
It still exists, but without Cody.
So?
And Cody walked away.
He created it. He helped create the thing that exists that has changed wrestling.
Yeah, he did. No, I'll give him
what
that.
What did CM Punk create that changed wrestling? One thing.
He created
ice cream bars?
Discourse.
No, but come on. The business of professional wrestling, what did Punk actually do that changed the business of pro wrestling? I
think he helped inspire a generation.
So did a lot of wrestlers, So did Rey Mysterio. So did Shawn Michaels. Cody Rhodes helped start a rival promotion that is still going today and helped elevate the salaries of everybody looking for a new contract in those big companies. I mean, Cody made some really strong points. I'm Team Cody on that one. I was buying everything Cody was saying in that promo. Some excellent stuff.
I think Punk had the best point where he said a bigger star's come in and he's come take your spot. And that's pretty much what's happened here. That's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, no, that was a really good line. And that is what's happened here. It was good.
Just spoke truth on that one.
It was a very good promo. Like, they both had their points. I know you're a CM Punk super fan, so you're going to side with Punk either way, but I see things kind of down the middle. I like
but I'll say it too. Punk says, like, oh, I don't make this personal. It's just business. I mean, that's a flat out lie. Like,
of course.
He's proven that before in the past. So I'll admit that 100%. Like, a lot of what he's saying, it's like, you call him out on his lies. There's a lot of lies there, but he's trying to play up the story too.
Precisely. And it's a good story, and I think Punk Cody, it should happen. The match should happen.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know when.
Chamber.
Where if Cody wins, it's a triple threat, and Cody wins?
Whatever. You could put Punk's, like, Rumble, like, win on the line or something. You could do something like that. Whatever, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Punk, Cody, Seth is the match to do for the world title at Mania. Especially with Seth possibly injured, like, I think you do Punk, Cody, Seth as the plan, and if Seth can't make it, you just do Punk, Cody for the world title.
I don't disagree with you. I felt like that's what it should have been from the start, but they seem really dead set on doing Punk versus Rollins. They feel that's where the money's at. So I think that's why they kept Seth in the picture here. And I feel like Punk and Cody might just be the background for that, sadly.
Yeah, but Cody has to have a match for WrestleMania. Like, there's got to be something there for him.
Well, we always talk about Randy, right?
Yeah, I don't see how that works unless there's some sort of interaction in the Rumble.
Yeah. Oh, there's time for that.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, a lot to find out tomorrow night in the Royal Rumble. Randy Orton hit
So we both don't give Cody any chance to win the Rumble, which is kind of like
No.
crazy because they put that over kind of a lot on Raw, where they're like, oh, no one's won 2 in a row since Austin did it back in the 90s. So it's been a long time since you've seen back-to-back winners.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that was kind of like a big thing. Like, wow, like to me, if it's not Punk, it should be Cody. I know you're putting over Gunther, but I would feel Cody should be the runner-up right now.
No, if it's not Punk, it should be Hogan.
Okay, fine.
Ridiculous.
Right, Cody's number 4. Wow.
Yeah.
What are the odds, by the way? Do you have the betting odds and like what the chance of Hogan winning the Rumble?
I don't think Hogan even is listed.
That'd be hilarious if he is listed.
Betting odds have Punk plus 125, Gunther plus 180, Cody plus 250. Punk is the favorite, then Gunther, then Cody. Rock plus 1,000, Drew plus 1,000, Jey Uso plus 1,400, Sami Zayn plus 1,800. I mean,
they're not even like listed right now, Jay or Sammy.
No. Bayley is the favorite to win the Women's Rumble. Becky Lynch plus 200, Bayley plus 100, Becky plus 200, Jade Cargill plus 500. So Bayley's the favorite, Becky's second favorite.
Wow. But I get it. Like that philosophy of Bayley hasn't won a Rumble, so you think they give it to Bayley.
Yeah. I hope Bayley wins. We'll see. We will see what happens tomorrow night at the Rumble. Should we drift over into the AEW land here, John? Anything on SmackDown you saw that you enjoyed or didn't?
I'm trying to remember on Raw was anything. I thought Raw was okay this week. I mean, obviously Cody and Punk was the main part of Raw. That was excellent.
And the Hogan
Everything
promo.
else, the Hogan promo was good. Like I didn't mind New Day against Imperium. I thought it was okay. Like to be honest, I enjoyed more of the wrestling than all the backyard wrestling, which was the only thing that was over apparently with the crowd. So that was kind of disappointing. But I enjoyed what we got out of that. I thought Gable and Ivar was pretty good too. Decent match. Main event wasn't anything special, sadly. But yeah, that was Raw for the most part. Some bad women's matches. It was Damian Priest against Drew McIntyre.
Oh, yeah.
Some bad women's matches, by the way. Terrible. The tag was terrible. But that's what happens.
Oh.
As far as SmackDown, I thought the opening promo was all right. Nothing great. It lacked Roman. If you had Roman, it would have felt like a bigger deal.
Yeah.
So without him there, it's kind of too bad.
It's weird he's not there. He lives in Florida. It's in Miami. The show tomorrow's in Tampa. He's like, nah. Really? Roman wasn't on SmackDown tonight. They had a man in the ring to introduce Randy Orton, who they later said was some sort of rapping guy from Puerto Rico or something.
Hilado Carrion. Apparently he sang RKO. There's a song that he wrote about Randy Orton.
Okay. I saw something about that, but I never watched the video. Randy's in like a music video. Okay, yeah. So he was there to introduce Randy Orton. And then in the main event, it was LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, but then AJ Styles attacked LA Knight. And then Randy Orton came out and attacked AJ Styles and attacked Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And then Randy kind of cleaned house and was doing his pose as the show closed. But then LA Knight came back and he hit the BFT on Randy. So they're hyping up the match for tomorrow. LA, Randy, AJ, and Roman. Yeah. All right. AEW, John. What? I'm done.
You kind of said it, but the women's tag team titles were changed.
Yeah.
Kabuki Warriors won. That was probably the best match I thought we saw. I thought it was a decent match.
Yeah, no, it was all right. Nothing really that interesting on SmackDown. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits had an encounter with Karrion Kross and his goons.
Wasn't a fan of that, to be honest.
It was not great.
No, wasn't good. And I thought Theory and Hayes was okay. The finish kind of sucked. Not a great finish, kind of weak.
Also, given the recent Vince McMahon allegations, I thought it was particularly odd that a group of men came out, and then Karrion Kross sent his wife into the ring to deal with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits. I was like, interesting choice.
It was interesting when they said, like, you think we're not going to fight, but we are. And I'm like, oh, Scarlett, you're in trouble now.
Yeah. Yeah, Bobby Lashley's like, oh, you thought we're not fighting. We are going to fight. I was like, what are they going to do to Scarlett? What is going to happen here? Yeah. It was, and then she jumped on Lashley's back, and the Authors of Pain beat them up, and it was something that happened on SmackDown.
I won't mention the text, but I mean, you can connect some dots, which I think some people would, and that's terrible.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's just when she went to the ring, I'm like, why are they sending her to the ring to deal with these guys? They trust that they're just going to be gentlemen. They're not going to do anything mean to her. Seems kind of careless, Karrion Kross, to let your wife go and just kind of deal with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, who you beat up all the time. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Turned out well for them. Right? I thought it was funny too on SmackDown. They're like, Roman Reigns, he's got a 4-way tomorrow, but he's had the 3 triple threat matches at WrestleMania, and he beat those guys, those 2 opponents that he had, whoever they are. And then Michael Cole was like, yeah, that was Bryan and Edge. He just kind of had to throw it in there just to make sure, like, all right, guys, we're gonna admit it was guys that are on AEW. But Corey Graves was like, those guys, those opponents that he had, that he beat, he stacked them and beat them at Mania. And, like, Corey Graves was tiptoeing around who the 2 guys were. And Michael Cole was like, Bryan and Edge. Didn't even say Daniel Bryan. Just called them Bryan.
Well, that's their WWE names, right? You can still call them Edge because they still own Edge, right? He's not called Edge anymore.
But Daniel Bryan was his WWE name. But he didn't call him Daniel Bryan. He just said Bryan. Didn't say Bryan Danielson. Right. He just said... that was Bryan and Edge. Bryan? Who's Bryan? We know.
Yeah, they kept it short.
Yeah.
But at least they said something.
Yeah, at least they mentioned their names. I didn't think that they, like, when Corey Graves was like, those opponents that he beat, I was like, oh, yeah. You're not going to say their names. And then Michael Cole said their names. I was like, oh, Bryan and Edge. Where are those guys? I miss them.
That's another thing, too. Michael Cole's now doing both shows again because they fired Kevin Patrick.
Yeah.
Seems a little harsh, but I guess they really didn't like him too much.
It wasn't great.
I mean, who is great in terms of WWE announcers? Like, I think Michael Cole is terrible, but they love Michael Cole. So.
Maybe this guy was involved in the Vince stuff. Kevin Patrick.
Hard time believing that, but
you never know.
I think they just didn't like him whatsoever. They just like the way he was calling stuff. It's too bad. But
why?
I imagine it just seemed kind of. You weren't excited for the wrestling, the way he was talking. Like, I don't know about you. Like, I was never like, oh man, this gears me up for it. Like, oh, he really pumps up.
No, I didn't think he was very good. So why are you saying it's too bad? I'm just like, yeah, I mean, fine. I'm not going to miss him. Who cares? He's forgettable.
Well, it's just like, okay, you're not a good announcer, but that happened to Renee as well when she was doing announcing. They didn't like completely get rid of her. They just put her back at, being an interviewer.
What are you, Kevin Patrick's best friend? What do you give a shit about this guy? WWE fires people all the time. Who cares?
Yeah, but they fire like their main announcer or second announcer to Mike Cole. Like, they've done this, 3-4 announcers in the last 2 years now?
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, like they're just never happy. Like, if they don't get a Mike Cole clone, or it's not a good enough clone, they just cut ties pretty quick. They give up pretty quick, it seems.
They should try and get Kevin Kelly.
He would be pretty good. I don't know if he'd want to do it, though. But he would be pretty good.
He would be good. He's good on Collision.
They should just, Vic Joseph's pretty good in NXT. They should just get him, I think.
Is he?
I think he's all right. Like, again, like, is anyone great WWE announcing? Like, not so much. Corey Graves all right. I think color commentating, they're okay.
Booker T.
Yeah.
Booker T's fantastic. He's so good. He's my favorite. When he goes, oh, or when he says shucky ducky, that's good. That works for me.
I know you don't like Wade Barrett. You have a history and all that, but I don't mind Wade Barrett. Like, color's fine.
He sucks too. Okay, over in AEW, Samoa Joe started Dynamite this week with a promo about people earning title shots in AEW, and then Hook came out, and he congratulated Joe for winning last week, but he's going to get another shot at him in the future, and then Joe leaves the ring, and he tells security to get Hook out of his ring, so then Hook suplexes a bunch of security guards. It was a weird segment.
Yeah, I didn't like that part. Everything else was
sucked.
fine until it got to that part.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of gets a bit hokey when that happens. And it makes everything kind of look more fake than it actually is.
Yep. Here's some security guards for you to beat up, Hook. Look at Hook throwing those security guards around. Isn't he impressive, everybody? Let's all cheer for Taz's son.
It should be like an automatic suspension if you're beating up security like that.
Yeah. Hangman Page and Pentagon had a pretty good match. Hangman beat Pentagon after a buckshot lariat. Solid match. Another win for the Hanger.
I felt Penta was more cheered than Hangman was. I don't know how you felt about that, but I felt Penta was very over with the crowd.
I didn't notice him getting cheered more than Hangman.
At the beginning, it really seemed like apparent. Because when he did the no fear in his face, that got over a lot. And then when he did the cowboy thing in his face, that got a bit of boos. I feel like people liked Penta more in Georgia.
And Hangman looks more and more like Magnum TA every week, doesn't he?
The mustache is really apparent now, yeah.
Yeah, very Magnum TA. Looks a lot like him. So Hangman had that solid match with Pentagon. Swerve had a pretty good match there with Jeff Hardy that Swerve wound up winning. And they are building up Hangman and Swerve for that match with Samoa Joe that we expect will be a triple threat at the pay-per-view in early March, Revolution. Swerve and Hangman did a promo backstage, and they set up a dealer's choice, which is Swerve picks Hangman's opponent and Hangman picks Swerve's opponent on the next episode of Dynamite. So Swerve and Hangman will wrestle again on Dynamite Wednesday with custom opponents chosen by their enemies. Okay.
Well, I like the fact that Dynamite Weekly is showcasing the World Championship. That's the show to watch if you're interested in the World Title feud. And it makes it seem like it's the most important thing. So that's good.
I like that the world title is, revolving around Hangman and Swerve. I think those are the right guys.
You need strong contenders. I mean, they're strong contenders, without question.
Very strong. Very strong contenders. They had the best matches on the show. I'm not sure what I liked more. I think probably Swerve and Jeff Hardy. But Hangman and Pentagon was really good, too.
Yeah, well, I think what helped with Jeff is because we don't see him that much. Mm-hmm. So it felt fresh, I think that's what helped a lot. And it just showed, Jeff can still really go, too. You don't get to see him in those kind of situations where he can have a big-time match. And he's done it now. We saw it on Rampage last week. We see it again on Dynamite Wednesday.
Yeah.
They should have Jeff in more matches like this.
Yeah, more one-on-one matches. He had that match with Darby that was really good. Now the match with Swerve. Jeff Hardy's on a roll right now. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed Edge versus Minoru Suzuki in the main event. Edge getting the win over Suzuki. It was a cool match. I liked it. A lot of it was just seeing Edge and Minoru Suzuki in the ring against each other. Just seeing those two guys in a ring together was just kind of surreal. Not a match you ever expected to see. And then just seeing them in the ring together, standing there, hitting each other, chopping each other. It was very cool. I enjoyed it. It was I liked it for the novelty. The match itself, it was all right. I don't think it was the best match on the card, but the novelty of it added to, they did hit each other pretty hard, and it was a solid match. I liked it quite a bit. I'm a big Suzuki fan. I'm a big Edge fan. I never thought that I would see them wrestle each other. So that was cool just to do it on Dynamite. Good booking.
I think Edge complemented Suzuki very well. Really showcased that he's a very hard hitter and sold very well for him throughout the whole match. I thought the pacing was really like just a solid main event. Again, like I said, maybe it wasn't the best match, but I was interested start to finish without question. And
Exactly.
I feel we're leading to Edge and Christian again.
Yeah.
Probably for the TNT title.
Yeah.
I think at Revolution, it makes sense to do a ladder match, I think.
Ooh. Yes. Yeah. It does. It does. Because Edge, after the match, he told Christian, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And they showed Christian watching the match. Apparently, that was a shot that they had used months ago of Christian. It was a recycled camera shot.
Lazy. That's what it was.
That's crazy.
Or they didn't realize they needed it and they didn't have it. So then, they just
took an old clip that they'd already aired, and people kind of saw it, and they were like, wait a second, this aired like 6 months ago. Christian wasn't watching this match. He was watching some other match. Amazing. AEW. The Acclaimed got the win over Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony. Darby Allin and Sting cut a promo, and Big Bill and Ricky Starks accepted the challenge from Darby and Sting for the tag team titles. And that match, I think, it's announced February 7th. Not this week, next week. They said in 2 weeks on Dynamite. So the February 7th episode of Dynamite, it'll be Ricky Starks and Big Bill dropping the AEW Tag Team titles to Sting and Darby Allin, as Sting and Darby will be, I guess, defending those AEW Tag Team titles against the Young Bucks at Revolution. Cool.
What needs to happen.
Yeah.
I was a little confused, though, on the promo bit when Sting was talking, because when he said he was all in, like, they had the graphic for All In the background. So I'm like, so does that mean Sting is going to be at All In now? Like, the wording and timing of the camera angle made it a little confusing. I wasn't the only one, I imagine, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he said I'm all in, when anybody says I'm all in AEW, you go, what are you talking about? The pay-per-view or what? But he just meant like, I'm in with you, Darby, on your idea of chasing the tag titles. I agree. Let's go for it. I'm in.
I mean, it'd be kind of cool if Sting's like, I said my final match in the U.S. is at Revolution, but my final match will be at Wembley.
Yeah, but that's
okay
not
that.
That's not what he's saying.
It's not what he's saying, but
I know.
I wouldn't mind that.
I believe his final match will be at Revolution there in March. We also, I think, are going to have Toni Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo at AEW Revolution. Have they announced that, or are we just assuming?
No, but we're going that direction because Deonna, I believe, is wrestling Taya Valkyrie next week.
Yeah, she'll be wrestling Taya Valkyrie on the next episode of Dynamite. I don't know what that has to do with her wrestling Toni Storm. I mean, she's already doing promos on the stage with Toni Storm, and they don't have a match announced? Come on. What does AEW think? Yeah, okay, got to get more wins. They brought back the ranking system or whatever, but if you're doing promos with the champion on the stage, what are you doing these promos for? They had a big, long promo, sit-down interview on the stage. They were talking about their history together, how they train in Japan together. They even have matching tattoos on their ankles. I mean, these two are good friends. Tony had a good promo. I liked how they had it was like a split screen. Well, they were like on the same screen, right? But right. Toni Storm's side of the screen was in black and white. It was a cool effect. And Deanna's was like regular in color. Yeah, it was good. It was really well done. I thought that was a really good promo segment from AEW. And going into it, you go, this could be a disaster. But I thought Tony, Deanna, Mariah May, Renee, the production, everything was on point. Like, this one hit. It worked. Yep. And it could have failed miserably. This could have been a thing that AEW attempted and kind of failed at, but this was one of those things where they actually kind of got everything together, and the performers really, they had good material to work with, their own personal material, their real story, and they delivered very well. Tony delivered really well. She's on a roll right now, and Deanna, I thought, was really good, well-spoken in that promo. I thought she did a very good job as well, and made me think, like, okay, like, there's something to this Deanna Purrazzo. She could be a fully like a developed wrestler, like not just a good wrestler in the ring, but also, with the promos and everything going for her. So I think, there's a lot there with Deanna Purrazzo. I haven't seen her do a lot of promos like this. So seeing her do that, I was like, yeah, okay. Because the first promo she did there in AEW in New Jersey and everything, it was a little shaky. But this one, like with Toni Storm, I was like more convinced. Super chat. So I like this one.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this whole segment was very good. The only thing I kind of like would critique a little bit is I feel Toni Storm's supposed to be the heel. I feel like she's the face, and Deanna came off more like a heel. But it's not so much like what she said, it's just the way she acts. Her mannerisms a little bit too. It's just, I feel it's a bit more heelish. And she's at a disadvantage too, because Tony's more well known with the audience, more established with the audience. So they'll obviously like Tony more because they know her more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So it's a tough situation.
People do like Tony, though. That's the thing with Toni Storm's gimmick. I think she's a heel, but people really like her. She gets cheered.
And it's tough for someone brand new coming in, and you have to be the babyface in this situation. And again, I feel Deanna, her character is mainly supposed to be a heel, or it's guided towards that, but she's trying to be a babyface. But again, being new, it's kind of tough.
The Young Bucks are heels. They came in. They had a little promo thing. I don't know.
I mean, they're trying to get the thing over. I mean, I didn't think it was good as last week, but
no,
they're just trying to get their characters down. That's it.
Yeah.
They were just trying to be a part of the show, but in a little way. I had no problem with it, but it wasn't anything like, oh, you got to see this.
Yeah. I don't know. It came off a little awkward this week. The little backstage with Top Flight, it was kind of like, I don't believe that you're dicks. I believe that you're trying to be dicks for TV. Like, it wasn't believable. They're not great actors, Yeah,
I didn't really take it either way. Like, it's just, they were trying to do something. Like, it wasn't the greatest thing, but I wasn't like, oh, this is horrible or anything. I just felt, they're trying something. They're just trying to put over the fact that they are jerks to people, and they'll say one thing and take it back. They're just trying to put that over. Again, like you said, not the greatest promo, but they're just slowly getting this over. Top Flight's not exactly the best promos too, as well. So it's hard.
Top Flight. Yeah, well, that's it. Top Flight was awkward too. It just, I don't know. It came off awkward. Shout out Harold Schneider dropping the super chat. Appreciate you, Harold. Coming up on Collision tomorrow night. Yeah, AEW is actually doing an episode of Collision tomorrow night, and you think, why? Everybody's going to be watching the Royal Rumble, and you'd be correct. But Bryan Danielson's going to wrestle Yuji Nagata, and FTR and Daniel Garcia will team to take on the House of Black in a cage match, elimination cage, where you have to, all three members of the team have to escape the cage to win the match, which is kind of a cool concept. So, like, a good card that I ordinarily would watch, but the Royal Rumble's on. So, I don't know if I'll watch Collision. I might have it on in the background. But, yeah, I mean, these are the times when AEW Collision, I think, is going to get some very low ratings because most wrestling fans will be watching the Royal Rumble tomorrow night. It's just weird that they're doing a Collision. I understand that they do it every Saturday, but when you're going opposite the Royal Rumble, or like a WrestleMania. You know, it's like, God damn, man. Maybe not this week.
Well, I always enjoy, like, if I can pull it off, and I did it last time, so I'll probably do it again. Just have two screens on at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Have TSN on, have Sportsnet Plus on, and it's kind of cool watching both. But because of the Rumble, we are actually doing a review of that. That's what's going to have the actual sound on, and most of my focus will be there. But like you said, Collision, there's some interesting matches that I want to check out.
Yeah, always good to see Bryan Danielson. That cage match looks cool, so we'll see. Collision tomorrow, Royal Rumble tomorrow as well. We'll be on right after the Rumble, as Johnny mentioned, for the Royal Rumble review show here on the Ringside Report Network. Johnny, when is your next match? Is there something you want to promote? When can people see you?
Not yet, but maybe next week. Hopefully I can finally promote something.
All right.
So tune in next week.
So stay tuned. And, of course, tomorrow night, right after the Rumble, we will be here to review everything that happened at WWE's Royal Rumble and get you ready for the road to WrestleMania. Thank you to Harold Schneider. You're the Super Chat leader of the night. Big shout-out to Harold, always supporting the Ringside Report Network. Thank you, Harold. Shout-out to Jimmy James, Ray Cruz, Angelo Contagonis, Antoinette. I saw a lot of members in the chat tonight. Leor, Jason Pete, and others.
Angelo?
I said Angelo.
Okay, good.
All the members.
So I'm going to win the Rumble, so.
I'll say Angelo again. Angelo again. Angelo. Double Angelo.
Is there again, too?
Triple Angelo. Angelo, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. We'll talk to everybody else tomorrow, too, but Angelo again. Angelo.
4.
5. 6. Hey, Angelo dropping a super chat. Angelo's the super chat leader of the night. Angelo. Again. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Join.ringsidereport.net if you have not gone there already, or just subscribe to the channel. Costs you nothing. We need the subscribers. We need the comments. We need the likes. We need all the things for the algorithms and everything, so we could be the biggest wrestling show in the world, or Canada to start with. That'd be good.
Yeah, one country at a time.
One country at a time. Canada, then India, then Japan, then Mexico, then the U.S. Circle the globe. All right.
Well, the show's in Punjabi now, too. So
you're damn right. We've got shorts in Punjabi and Japanese and French. We're international on our YouTube channel on the Ringside Report Network. Thank you to the team for taking care of all that and doing all the great stuff. You are the best team in the world, and the channel would be not existing without you. Of course, go to the website as well, ringsidereport.net. Ringsidereport.net. All sorts of information there, all sorts of written words in, all sorts of videos, all sorts of information, everything, all our shows, podcasts available on our website, ringsidereport.net. It's actually in Hindi, John. We're in Hindi. We're not in Punjabi. We're in Hindi.
Punjab? Oh,
no.
Damn.
Hindi.
I thought it was Punjabi.
Well, you obviously don't speak either language.
I do not.
But, you do in AI. The AI version of you does, John. And so do I, apparently. I speak those languages, too. So we're living it up. We are international, and we welcome all our friends around the world watching the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see